Today's video is a video that I wanted to make for a while now. It's on the subject how Darth Vader would actually do in the Warhammer 40k universe. So let's start it off right now. And what I'm kind of rating and base how Darth Vader actually would do on this subject is from a couple of the books, because I'm not using the Warhammer 40k board game. I'm kind of more or less using the lore. So, with that being said, the first book that I'm basing it on would be The Beast Arises. And there's from 1 to 12, but I've only read from 1 to 10. Pretty decent book series. But in that book series, you have the orcs that attack the Imperium using a junk moon. And you know the orcs are known for making junk moons. If you ever read any of the Horus Heresy books where you dealt with the orcs, it's a common thing. They use junk moons or junk asteroids, and they strap a bunch of junk boosters and all kinds of stuff on to make it work. And that's actually what the orcs use to pretty much decimate the Imperial Fist. I mean, they completely wiped out the Imperial Fist chapter in the book. So, my thinking is that if Darth Vader had access to the Death Star, it kind of depends on how good he would do based on what resources he would have at hand. So if it's Darth Vader and he actually has access to the Death Star, he would be able to do some real damage to the Imperium, because in the book, the Lords of Terror, the High Lords of Terror, were always squabbling among each other. It was hard for one to really make a coherent decision, because they all wanted to make sure the other person wouldn't gain more influence than others. A bunch of backstabbing politics involved. And my thinking would be, depending on what period in time that Darth Vader actually arrived in the Imperium, would really determine how well he would do. So if Darth Vader happened to enter in a period of time in the past where the Great Crusades were going on and you had all the Primarchs and the Emperor, well, he wouldn't have any chance. But if it's a period in time where all the Primarchs are gone and it's just the High Lords of Terror running it, he stands a real good chance of wiping out the Imperium. Now, it also could be that he will have a difficult time if this happens after Gathering Storm series, where Luke Gilliman comes back, because he wouldn't be able to beat a Primarch, I don't think. Primarchs and a Sith Lord like Darth Vader they have considerable power. And one reason he wouldn't do so well against a Primarch is they're kind of immune to a lot of attacks, or psychic attacks, or just other physical attacks that will kill a mortal person. So with that being said, I'm going to give you some other books and other ideas why I think Darth Vader would actually do pretty well. So let's examine Darth Vader for right now, and we'll leave the subject of the Primarchs a little later on in this video. So I estimate that he's probably 6 feet 11 in full armor, because the actor that played Darth Vader is, I believe, 6'8" flat. So if he's actually 6'8" flat, and I'm talking about the original Darth Vader, not the guy that played him in the recent movies. From what I understand, the actor that played Darth Vader originally had back surgery, had some type of accident, and after the surgery, he kind of shrunk a little bit, so he wasn't the same height, and he was no longer able to play Darth Vader. So with that being said, I'm estimating that Darth Vader is about 6 feet 11 versus your average Space Marine, who's around 7 feet flat. So he's probably, depending on if he's a little taller than 7 feet or a little shorter than 7 feet, he's probably around 7'5" in full armor plate. So that's still two considerably tall individuals. I mean, 6'8" is really tall, and so is 7'5". Okay, so let's analyze what Darth Vader would have going for him and why people mistakenly think that he wouldn't actually do well in the Imperium. But what you have to understand or remember about Darth Vader is he's not a mortal human. And as a matter of fact, I'm not even sure that people in the Star Wars universe are even human. They're humanoids. I give you that, but I don't know if they're actually Terran humans because the time frame is supposed to have taken place thousands of years ago in a galaxy far, far away, etc., etc., etc. So I'm not exactly sure that they're a human. Possibly they're just regular standard humans. I don't know. But I can tell you that Jedi's or Sith Lords aren't mortals. For one thing, it's countless accounts of Jedi being able to live thousands of years, and Sith Lords for that matter. Another thing is with the Sith Lords or the Jedi, they're pretty much immune from dying from falling. And there's countless occasions in the Horus Heresy book where the Space Marines have fallen to their death. One of them would be when Horus and the Emperor were fighting against the war boss in the Junk Moon. I believe it was in the book Primarchs. And when the Emperor fell, Horus jumped behind him, and all of the Space Marines that from the Lunar Wolves jumped in to follow Horus died. So that just shows you that Space Marines are pretty tough, but some of the situations in their armor they wouldn't survive, whereas a Jedi would, or a Sith Lord for that matter would live, because they seem to be immune from death from falling. I mean, I've seen countless accounts in the different movies or whatever iterations of it, and I've never actually seen a Jedi fall to his death, or a Sith Lord. So that's one thing. And so that can pretty much establish that they're not mortals. So there would be more of a kin. I believe a Sith Lord are more closer to like maybe a minor chaos demon. Because the thing about a Sith Lord, even once they die, oftentimes they'll become a Force ghost. But unlike a Jedi, they will not just linger around and come to your aid. You have to be able to summon them with Sith magic. So it seems that from what I've read from some of the lore, they like to linger in the bodies of a fallen Sith, waiting for somebody else so they can reincarnate and then jump into their bodies. And that's what the Emperor was trying to explain to Darth Vader when he killed Padme, trying to explain to him how he figured out how to cheat death. That's basically the gist of it. So we can go from there, and that's pretty much how the Siths cheat death. First is the Space Marines, and one thing about it, I'm a massive fan of both franchises. Matter of fact, my favorite sci-fi franchise is Warhammer 40k. I love Warhammer. I love the audiobooks. I love the written books. I love the magazines. Everything pretty much about it. I like building the model kits. Warhammer is an awesome franchise. So we have that going for us. So as I said, it really depends on what period of time Darth Vader found himself. So if you look at his physical traits, he actually would do pretty well against a Space Marine. I know you're saying there's no way, but here's what you have to understand. Darth Vader is a transhuman. You have to remember, he wasn't even born with a natural father. He was purely an entity of the Force. So you're not dealing with a human because humans have mothers and fathers. demons aren't born from the Force. And you can argue about the explanations on how that stuff takes or how it happens. I didn't write the series. That's George Lucas's idea. So we just have to go with the established lore that we have. So going from there, we can establish that a Sith has a lot of things going for him. One thing also too that the Sith would have for him is a lot of access to the dark Sith magic, which is why I kind of believe that the Siths are more kind of close to a chaos demon. And if we're looking at it in the 40k universe, instead of an ordinary psyker, because I'm not sure that the psychers and the force are two different things, because force is, here's another again of George's Lucas explanation, is coming from the metachloride versus what you would have in 40k being psychers. So I don't think that those two are actually the same thing. I'm not sure that the one way you would fight the psychers would actually work on a Sith Lord. And if anything, probably one of the Chaos Demons would say, hey, we got a new powerful entity in our universe. Let's see if I can persuade them to the forces of chaos. Which probably wouldn't be that far off. You know, as far as you know, they could turn Darth Vader into some kind of even more evil cyber demon than he already is, which is more likely what would happen. But let's examine his physical traits that he would need. And we're going to examine more or less going into depth with his physical traits in the next video. So this is part 1. And stay tuned for part 2 and we will continue. This is Wes. Thanks for watching.